Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy DaVon back in the flesh for another nitty gritty everything so saucy and professional wrestling. As I have a live edition for AEW Dynamite for July 31st, 2024. As things was red hot when it came to everything that had transpired tonight on the road to All In. As things are looking real good with tonight's card, we had so much great action and also so much rumors and storylines going on when it came to the build up towards All In as well. For tonight's showcase, we had Will Ospreay in singles action taking on Lance Archer. As well, we had Hangman Adam Page taking on Darby Allin. We had women's title eliminator. We had Willow Nightingale, the CMLL Women's World Champion, taking on Chris Statlander in an eliminator match. We also had the Congregation taking on Beast Mortals, Roderick Strong, and Bruce and trios action. As well, we have Mariah May having a sit down interview with Renee Paquette. As well, we have Brian Danielson speaking to the crowd about his future with AEW as his contract officially was going to be up tonight. Of course, we already know how to go when it comes to the kayfabe. Is that officially he's going to be re-signing just for the time being until you figure out what the next step will be for his tenure with AEW. As well as we have Mercedes Monet in the house with her big bodyguard right there behind her, as well as we end up having Camille, who made her debut last week, as they're getting ready to have the Monet Coalition taking over the women's division. Like we're gonna have a brand new stable, a part of All Elite Wrestling, and so much more went on when it came to tonight. And I look forward to seeing how things continue to be pushed and transpire. But more importantly, I appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support. Don't forget to smash that like button, chime down in the comments, hit that notification bell. More importantly, let's talk professional wrestling. But we're going to go ahead and kick all everything off when it came to everything that had transpired. We start off the show with MJF. He had a lot to say when it came to tonight's promo. It was straightforward. It was fire for what it was. He ended up taking shots at Greenville crowd. Then he brags about being the AEW American Champion. And then he says that he will be walking into enemy's territory at All In. Then he says that he will beat Will Ospreay once again in his home country. Then he demands respect from the fans and tells them to get on their feet for the American champion. More importantly, Will Ospreay music ends up hitting. Then he ends up making his way out. He looks to attack MJF, but MJF slides directly at the ring, retreating up the ramp before he can. Ospreay then warns MJF about bringing up his family, as he has in the past, and says that he knows the American fans love their flag as much as he loves the United Kingdom flag. And he says that the fans still refuse to acknowledge the American Championship because he threw the AEW International Championship in a garbage can. That was referring to MJF. Then things end up breaking down, as he said. The men have worked hard to give the title a legacy and lineage, and he says MJF isn't worthy of holding the AEW International Championship. He says that MJF is in the Wembley Stadium, but he will restore honor to the International Championship. MJF ends up goading the crowd and calls him disgusting for liking Ospreay and claims to be American hero, and says that he let his actions do all the talking. Then he says that he will annihilate Will Ospreay at All In, but he says he won't even make it to London, as he will be facing Lance Archer. Lance Archer ends up making his way down. This match was a smash mouth match. I enjoyed everything about it. It was a lot of back and forth. The bell ends up ringing, and then they get the action underway. Lance Archer delivers a chokeslam to Will Ospreay, and Archer connects with a series of elbows to Ospreay in the corner. But then Will Ospreay responded with a couple of forearms. Then things proceed to go back and forth as Archer ended up landing a couple of forearms to his own, then connects a springboard kick. Then the action then spills out to the outside as Archer delivers a body slam to Will Ospreay onto the floor, but Ospreay responded with a hurricanrana, which sends him crashing onto the actual apron. Then Ospreay responded with after the barricade spot, he ended up going back into the inside of the ring as they looked to end up doing a dive onto Archer and put the big man down. Then they get back from the commercial break because there was a couple breaks in between when it came to this actual match. Will Ospreay delivered a couple kicks onto Lance Archer's head, and then looked to do a flying torpedita off the ropes. Archer catches him and then sends him crashing into the mat with a slam, and then he proceeded to hit a spine buster to get a proceeded 2 count from there. Things continue to progress as things continue to go back and forth. Osprey kicked out, and he catches Archer with a kick to the face, and then he dives into the mat and then charges him into the corner. Archer intercepts with a big boot, then stomps on Osprey and ascends him into the top rope to set him up directly into the corner. But Osprey ends up tripping Lance Archer up. Then he joins him onto the ropes, and then he was about to set up for an avalanche chokeslam, which was countered into a beautiful Spanish fly. Things proceeded to go with a 2 count after the big man had kicked out. Osprey continued to catches him with the Oz cutter, and he goes for another cover, but Archer ends up kicking out once again for a 2. Things continue to be set up as they continue to go back and forth, as Osprey was about to set up for the hidden blade, but Archer catches Will Osprey with a clothesline and goes for a pin count, which ends up being a kick out at a 2 count. As Osprey delivers a pair of hidden blades to Archer to finally pick up the victory. But the match was a lot of back and forth. I enjoyed everything about it. It was basically like David and Goliath. This match really kept me intrigued when it came to everything that had transpired. More importantly, I enjoyed all the action that went on into this actual opener of AEW Dynamite. More importantly, Will Ospreay continue to turn to his own, but also the big man Lance Archer can go. If you actually just give him a switch, he can turn it on or turn it off, just depending on when he's actually on television. But I'd like to see a little bit more of Lance Archer and see what he'll be about in the wind of things. More importantly, we're on the road to All In. As All In is looking to be real nice when it comes to the stack card developed by Tony Khan. After the match, they ended up having MJF blindsided on Will Ospreay. He rained down a couple of rights, and then he landed a brainbuster and slid on his dynamite diamond ring. Then, as things would continue to progress, we ended up having no other than one of our longtime Will Ospreay friends end up being Kyle Fletcher. He slides directly in to leaping directly into the ring. He says he heard MJF say it last week, and then he tells MJF only cares about himself rather than America. He also recalls that the dreaming of moving into Australia to America because that's where the best wrestlers wrestle. He says the USA has given him everything. He says he is sick of MJF, and he tells MJF to get in the ring so he can beat him down. While MJF initially squares up, he ultimately decides against it as he declines. But then he initially agrees to a match next week as to take on Kyle Fletcher, which we know is going to be a big banger. More importantly, I look forward to seeing how those two actually have a great chemistry and connection because this will be the first time they actually square up against each other. But I still be highly interested to see how things will transpire in the long run. But MJF continued to plant the seeds as Don Callis family is being involved into this actual feud. Kind of got this feeling that the Don Callis family is going to side with MJF to build a new coalition or a new stable along with MJF. But Will Ospreay is going to have his hands tied when it comes to the whole situation with MJF, and more importantly, what Don Callis is feeling when it comes to everything that had initially had transpired. But I'd like to know from you guys' point of view how you guys are feeling about everything that's going on when it comes to that whole feud of MJF and Will Ospreay, along with the Don Callis family now officially being involved. But don't forget as well, I appreciate you guys coming through for this live chat. Love for you guys to smash the like button. Don't forget to share this content. As well, if you like to carry a conversation and talk professional wrestling, if you're coming over from Twitter, I can't see your comments. Switch over to YouTube. My link should be directly on my actual profile page, and then we could chop it up and correspond back and forth. But more importantly, I appreciate all you guys coming from all my platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Then we get ready for Alex Marvez, who's the announcer who's standing by with Chris Jericho after they came back from the break. He's alongside with Big Bill and Brian Keith backstage. Big Bill gives Jericho a cake to celebrate his 102-day reign as counted as the FTW champion. They proceeded to celebrate about the whole situation of the count. Brian Keith then challenges Shibata to a match ahead of next week for Dynamite after Chris Jericho pretty much hyped up that whole situation. As we continue to see how things unfold, as Jericho told Shibata stay out of their business, or he's going to end up in the same situation once again that happened to Samoa Joe. More importantly, what happened to Hook and so many more. But that feud continues to be kind of interesting. I still feel like the Jericho um, learning tree feel like it's still feeling flat. I feel like I'm not highly invested into the actual stable. This is like probably one of the lowest gimmicks when it comes to Chris Jericho. I like to see him a little bit peak it up a little bit when as he unwinds down to the end of his career in AEW. Then we come back. You ready for the actual match of Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale? This women's match was a quick banger. I enjoyed all the back and forth action of everything that had corresponded. More importantly, these ladies really put on a great match and kept me invested. This wasn't a sleeper. These ladies were doing their thing when it came to tonight's match. The match started off fast and furious as I highly expected. As Chris Stanley attacked Unagi off the apron and delivered a missile dropkick onto the top ropes. Then the bell begins ringing as Statlander fires off a couple of chops directly at Willow Nightingale. She looks to land a splash on her and then into the corner, but Nightingale moves out the way and lands a boot to her directly to the face. Chris Statlander and Nightingale then rose up with each other and then go back and forth, and then Statlander hits a forearm and lands a Northern Light suplex as she goes for a 2 count for a near fall. Things continue to progress as Nightingale and Statlander ended up on to the outside as Nightingale connects with a forearm and then Statlander end up hitting a spine buster. She sends her crashing into the barricade and then lands a couple of cannonballs, but she ended up missing as Statlander moves out the way when they were fighting directly on the outside. They came back from the commercial break as Nightingale is in control. She ends up hitting another spine buster, but goes for the actual 2 count when it came for a kick out. Then Statlander kicks out and then lands a big elbow on Willow Nightingale. Then she ends up setting her up for electric chair position and sends her crashing into face mat into the actual square circle. Then she follows up with a scissor kick and goes for the pin, but Nightingale kicks out at a 2 as things continue to be progress throughout the course of this match. Nightingale and sends Statlander crashing into the apron, but Statlander drags Nightingale out to join her as things continue to progress throughout the course of this match. The pair exchange forearms back and forth with each other until Willow ends up hitting a Death Valley driver on Statlander to get Hathaway involved when it came to everything that had transpired. She ended up proceeded to land a forearm shot directly him after he was struck down. Then Statlander gets Nightingale back in the ring and looks to go for a maneuver, but Nightingale ends up intercepting with a powerbomb. Then she follows up with a DDT and goes for the pin, but Statlander kicks out for a 2 for another additional nice kick out. Statlander delivers a 450 splash from the top rope, but Nightingale kicks out as well on her own. But then they proceed to go back and forth as Nightingale hands Statlander a couple more chops into the corner as Statlander goes into the corner, and Hathaway hands Statlander a chain. Then he proceeded to jump on the apron to distract the referee, as Chris Statlander ends up wrapping it around her hand and then blasted Willow Nightingale to get the cheated pinfall to now officially secure her spot for the CMLL Women's Championship at All In, as the ladies are going to put on another big banger. But it was kind of like a cheap way when it came to her securing the victory. I would have loved to see the beat clean so she could brag about it leading up towards everything at All In. After the match, Hathaway proceeded to get a chair, and she stands directly over Chris Statlander. Statlander hits Nightingale with a couple of times, and then the security runs down to prevent Statlander from using the chair again. Statlander then takes the 3 guards and pretty much knocked every single one out, and she's about to put the beat down on the last guard, but Stokely Hathaway stopped her and then proceeded to raise her hand as the heels end up leaving that actual segment. They come back from a commercial break, and then they have Bryan Danielson making his way down for his actual in-ring segment. He was red hot when it came to the Greenville fans. They were enjoying everything, and they were invested when it came to everything about Bryan Danielson. He says it's great to be in Greenville. Then he recalls having his engagement picture with the now his wife, Brie Bella. And then he said Greenville has a special place in his heart when it comes to that city. He says he and Brie recently looked through their pictures, and then he says the good old days are gone now. But before you know it, he says he wants to walk about his presence and promises tonight. Then he says that he will be lucky in his career and says that although he was forced to retire, he'd been able to be in the present since he returned back to professional wrestling. Bryan Danielson then proceeded to say the last 3 years of AEW have been fun and incredible. More importantly, he says that he came down to the ring and was able to be present behind the curtain during the fans cheering for him. And he then says he promised his daughter that he will stop wrestling when she turns 7 years old, which is supposed to be happening this year. And he said this will be his last professional wrestling contract and he ever signed, and he will be with AEW. And says that AEW contract ends tomorrow. And that he promised that he will give his best effort forward when it comes to stepping in the ring. And Danielson sets out the two things that he wanted to do in AEW when he first arrived. He said he kicked people in the head, and now he wants to become the world heavyweight champion. He says he's accomplished so many different things as being a former WWE champion, of course, all his other accolades. And then he also later on to say the match against at All In for the title will be his last shot. While doctors and his family advise him against wrestling, he promised to give everything that he has at Wembley Stadium. More importantly, he says that he will go all in at August 25th when it comes to the championship. Shane Swerve Strickland music hits. He makes his way downward alongside Prince Nana. You gotta love Prince Nana as he always swerve when he drives and he always keep us invested and entertained. More importantly, I still enjoy the run that's been going on for Swerve as he continued to do great things, and I enjoyed everything about it. Then they proceeded to have a conversation, and Strickland tells Danielson that he has immense respect for him and says that he's rooting for him at All In. And if it was in any other time, he said his time rather than later is now. He says, unlike Danielson, he was successful in winning the AEW World Championship like he said he would. And he says Danielson will kick everyone's head in, but he couldn't handle it when people kicked back. Strickland also proceeded to say that Danielson has a classic against Will Ospreay, but got hurt and he got pinned at Anarchy in the Arena while he retained his title against Will Ospreay. He questioned if Danielson's body can handle being AEW World Champion. More importantly, he then promises Danielson that he is in the most dangerous man in AEW, and he will walk into All In holding his title. More importantly, he says that has done everything that is possible to do when it comes to the company, and when he's done with Danielson, he won't be able to walk after the actual match. Strickland looks to leave the ring, but Danielson stops him and says that he has another promise when it comes to the actual match. He says he would never wrestle again if he doesn't win the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. He then ups the ante for August 25th and throws out the challenge for title versus career. And Danielson then offers his hand to Strickland, and Strickland shakes it and calls Danielson challenge a noble and tells him to keep his promise to his family rather than him. But this story continues to be very, very intriguing. I'm enjoying everything that has continued to be happening with the story. More importantly, this match is going to be meaningful. It's going to keep everybody invested to want to watch this main event when it comes to All In. More importantly, it's going to be great storytelling from both sides. The mic skills is already there. The groundwork has been already preset for this match. More importantly, I look forward to seeing how they continue to entwine when it comes to the story, as we're not that far away. We're officially, I believe, almost 30 days out, close to when it comes to All In. Bryan Danielson probably is one of the GOATs of all time. He never changed his stripes, and he always have been great and captivating when it comes to his ring skills. But this is the last hurdle of getting that diamond in a dozen and becoming the world heavyweight champion. More importantly, when it comes to Swerve Strickland, there's nothing to say about that man. He's always been great in the ring. His skills have been nothing but stellar. Seeing him when he first started off in WWE and NXT and worked his way up to become the man that he has officially have become, and then he became more hungry after he was released from WWE and found his lifeline when it came to AEW. He's won nearly almost every single championship, close to it, and he's already hit the big goal. But this match is going to be meaning to both of these guys. More importantly, I look at seeing how things continue to progress, but as things are going to continue to be looking good when it comes to both of these individuals. Then we get ready for things to switch up gears. We get ready for Roderick Strong, Roosh, and the Beast Mortis. The Beast Mortis really has been impressing me each and every single week. I'm in loving him more and more and more on each and of our television. Roosh always can go, and Roderick Strong, I feel like he's kind of like just in the lackluster, kind of in the back burner, as they don't know what to do with the Undisputed Kingdom, as they're just, are they going to disband them, or are they just kind of lost in the shuffle? More importantly, things are just looking just terrible right now when it comes to this little trios action, just like just mixed action, but not really what we really want to see. Then they're in the trios action against no other than the Conjurer Commemoration, a good old group. This match was a lot of back and forth. We had a lot of strong brawling, transitional tag action, and it was red hot. Out of this match, I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. It was basic, it was average at best, but it still kept me invested when it came to the match. The match started off strong with two strong brawls as Ishii was on the outside with Roos, and they ended up going back and forth at it when it came to all the competitors. Cassidy ends up mocking Mortis on the outside, and then he sends him crashing into the mat. Mortis gets back up onto his feet and clocks Cassidy from behind. Ishii then goes into the ring, and then Mortis levels him with a belly to belly suplex. Ishii quickly recovers and lands him with a vertical suplex onto Mortis. Then Bruce ends up getting into the inside and staring down Ishii as Ishii runs over with a shoulder block. Then the pair exchange a couple of right hands between each other, going back and forth. Then things proceeded to exchange as they end up hitting a nice little brawl on the outside onto the apron. Then Marks end up taking down Strong with a blockbuster onto the apron. Then he flies with assistant chair to the level of Mortis and Roosh. Then they come back from their commercial break. Then Roosh and Mortis deliver a double shoulder block and end up knocking down Cassidy. Ortiz then ends up sending Cassidy crashing into the mat, but Cassidy ends up landing a stun dog millionaire on Mortis. Then Mark then tags in and then fires off a couple strikes as Rooster Mortis then fires at Strong. Ishii tags in. Then things continue to progress as Strong fires a couple more forearm shots as they continue to land back and forth. He levels Rooster Mortis with a pair of German suplexes, then landed a suplex on Strong. Then things continue to progress as Cassidy delivers a DDT to Strong, and Mark connects with an elbow drop off the top rope. Ishii then delivers a clothesline onto Mark and then hit pin Roger Strong for a 2 count. As Mortis ends up sending Roos and Cassidy and crashing into a pair for the breakup for the fall. Strong powerbombs Ishii and goes for the pinfall, but Ishii kicks out for a 2. Strong then ends up a couple of exchanges back and forth for Ishii, but Mortis tags in. And Mark tags in as well to deliver a missile dropkick to Mortis, but Roos lands an exploder on him. Ishii levels him with a clothesline, but Strong delivers a back breaker to Ishii. And then Cassidy lands an orange punch on Strong, but Mortis takes him out and then delivers a power driver on Mark for the pinfall. As Roderick Strong, Roosh, and the Beast Mortis ends up picking the victory in trios action. Then we come to the break. We head over to the conversation between Mariah May and Renee Paquette, who are about their recent developments between herself and Tony Storm, as well as the gain some insight on Mariah May's betrayal when it came to Tony Storm. Tony Storm ends up appearing at the ramp that she still has love for Mariah May, but she says more importantly, at All In will be a romance of a lifetime. She proceeded to say more other underlying things. This promo was short and sweet, straightforward, as I look forward to seeing how these ladies interchange. But Tony Storm and Mariah May are going to give us a strong style women's division match. I look forward to seeing what these ladies can actually do. But more importantly, I love the development story as Mariah May was a protege, but turned her back on Tony Storm to bust her open a couple weeks back. And more importantly, seeing how things may unfold with this loving story. More importantly, we know we're going to get a great AEW Women's Championship match in the near future at All In. Then we proceeded to switch gears up for Camille, Mercedes, and Monet, who makes their way down. And the match is going to be Camille versus Brittany Jade, as Mercedes Monet is going to be the actual valet for this match. This match was a bad smurder. There's a lot of back and forth. This match was a straight squash match. I'm going to hold you guys up on that. The match started off very quick as Camille wasted no time. She sent Jade crashing into the corner. Then I raked her along the top ropes and then connected a pump kick. Then Camille delivers an over-the-shoulder cutter facebuster combination to pick up the victory, more so like over a reverse TKO. After the match, Monet joins Camille in the ring and she steps over Jade as Camille holds her hands up high. Then she tells Greenville to say hello to their CEO. Mercedes Monet introduces Camille as the newest member of the Monet Corporation before Camille dumps Jade onto the outside of the ring, and Monet voiced her frustrations with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, for targeting her. And she says she thanks Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson for suspending her. Then she says that it's her house now, and she would turn her house into a mansion. And she says Monet will change everything, and that ending that segment. The TBS Championship is going to be very interesting when it comes to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and the CEO of the AEW. But more importantly, I'm not looking forward to this match. It may be okay. I feel like it's going to be decent, very mid at best. But we know these ladies can go. But I don't want to see Britt Baker coming off her first return and then winning a championship. We got to have her have some kind of build up towards it before she actually get the championship. And we need to see her with some more matches to rack up the wins. More importantly, things are going to be looking good when it comes to Camille, as she's going to be the big star once she breaks away from Mercedes. But for the time being, this is what Tony Khan has directly for her for the time being until they get some booking under her. As she is the dominant one, she's basically felt like she's back in Jade Cargill's spot when it comes to how things are breaking down with the ladies in that division. But more importantly, Mercedes is continue to do her thing. I'm kind of glad they kind of kept it short with her mic skills. I feel like it needs to be a little bit more work when it comes to Mercedes. Hopefully they don't overexpose her, but they have been overexposing her when it comes to her actual mic skills. But hopefully they do something better and getting her a little bit more development and help her become to her own. When she was in WWE, she had her own kind of issues, but hopefully she's able to be projected and be happy as she's here in AEW and doing her thing as a TBS champion. But more importantly, this match is going to be mid at best when it comes to Mercedes and Britt Baker. But hopefully to keep us invested for the fans in Britain who are going to have such a great time, 100%. Then we got Hangman Adam Page who makes his way down. So get ready for Darby Allin versus the Hangman Adam Page. Darby Allin has been racking up all the wins. He's been doing such a phenomenal job these past few weeks. But man, he has been taking beatings after beatings after beating. It's like he's on a time clock waiting to get paralyzed. But he's doing his thing like a bona fide stunt man, taking all these hits and bumps and really just finding his craft when it comes to AEW. Being truly one of the pillars of entertaining us each and every single week. But I don't want him to be paralyzed for our enjoyment and entertainment and just for that thrill rush of being in the ring in a square circle. But when it comes to Hangman Adam Page, I'm loving this heel persona. I feel like more and more week as he's been his frustration, he's just gonna blow up and just take his frustration on everybody and become that back pillar rebel of just taking everybody out and just be kicking, doing what he need to do, just fist flying and ass kicking, just taking everybody out and don't even care who it is. But this match was a lot of back and forth. I enjoyed everything that had went on this match. This match was a 4 out of 5 stars. I was invested in this match. And these boys put on a clinic, including those spots that really just had me like, man, that shouldn't have happened. But it still was cool seeing this match get on the way as they have great trust, chemistry, and they looked out for each other in this actual match. The bell ring started off as they both locked up as Darby Allin connected with an arm drag onto Page and dropped him onto the outside of the ring. Then he locked him into a delivered a coffin drop onto the top of the outside. And then Cage catches him and sends him crashing into the floor with a suplex. Then he proceeded to go back and forth and then throw him into the barricade. The pair brought up the ramp as Allin sends Page crashing onto the floor. And then he ends up ascending and climbing it directly up the tunnels and delivering a coffin drop directly off the little stage perch and dropping directly down on Adam Page, which was like a great holy shit moment. But I really enjoyed everything that he had did, and it kept me invested when it came to that spot. They went back and forth, and then they had a couple of breaks in between. After they came back from the break, Adam Page was wearing down Darby Allin and locked in a vertical suplex to him. Allin then end up delivering a springboard crossbody when the lights suddenly go out and then came back on, and Page sends Darby Allin crashing into the ring steps on the outside. Adam Page then drags steps onto the normal position and then sends Darby Allin crashing into him. And then he ends up landing onto his feet and locks in to use the steps as a launching pad. But Page sends him crashing into the ring post. And then he delivered a powerbomb to Allin on the apron. Also following up with a fall-away slam onto the top of the ring steps, which really broke things down and throughout the course of the match. They end up having another commercial break as they end up falling back and forth before delivering another fall-away slam. Allin responded with a top rope suicida to Page onto the outside with a dive into the ring steps. Then he lashes him with a couple belt back into the ring, and then he delivered a pair of splashes into the corner. And then he looked for a third, but Page moves out the way, and then Allin delivers a code red on Page. As they continue to go directly to the top rope, then logs into a coffin drop. Page intercepts with a sleeper, then follows up with a lariat onto Allin, who flies over the top rope onto the apron and goes for a pin. Allin kicks out, and then frustrated Adam Page rains down a couple of right hands directly at Darby Allin as the match continued to be progress. Adam Page powerbombs Darby Allin and then goes for the pin, but he kicked out. Page then lands a dead eye and then sets up for a buckshot lariat, but Allin manages to roll him up and counter the buckshot lariat and was able to secure the victory as a frustrated Darby Allin not only picked up the victory, but as well seeing the way how Adam Hangman Page was about to lose his noodle after everything broke down. Page ended up grabbing steel chairs from under the ring and then tossing the ring after his frustration. Darby Allin has the back as the show proceeded to go off the air. This match was good. A lot of back and forth for the main event. It was a lot of things that went on, a lot of nice prop spots. But these boys had great chemistry and they looked off at each other. But more importantly, Darby Allin secured the victory on his road to the TNT Championship against no other than Jack Perry. I wonder how things are going to continue to be the progress when it comes to Hangman Adam Page, as he is still trying to find himself. But it'd be highly interesting for the most part to see where he lands up with himself. But I know he's probably just like he's over it. He's just gonna snap and maybe, hopefully, he doesn't go like crazy like Byron Pillman or something like that and really just go off the wall and do some crazy stuff as they officially are in the not PG, but can kind of elevate things when it comes to wherever they made progress with their actual television programming. But overall, this AEW Dynamite was pretty chill from start to finish. So I enjoyed everything about it. And it kept me highly invested. The show was above average. It was a from my own title, it was a 4.1 out of 5 stars. But more importantly, it was a great show just in general, as things continue to be pushed when it came to AEW's Dynamite. But more importantly, I appreciate you guys always coming through and showing your love and support. I'm trying to see if anybody commented down in the comments or even left a couple super chats or like that. But you guys are some of you guys, I believe, are directly on Twitter. Let me double check. Right? Yeah, some of you guys are directly on X, and then a couple of you guys are on YouTube. I would love for you guys to comment down below and let me know how things are going. Make sure our mic was good throughout the majority of the show, and give a thumbs up if you actually enjoyed everything that had went on when it came to tonight's programming. But I'm going to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty breaking news story when it came to Shane McMahon had an interview when it came to talking with Tony Khan earlier today in Texas. I know it broke out directly when it came to so many other news that broke out about that actual conversation. Shane McMahon actually did release a statement when it came to everything that had progress. When he had a meeting with Tony Khan, Fightful Select was able to get the full details, including along with Russell Talk, who had broke the news about the. And then Shane Man actually talked about the meeting, about discussing the possibilities of moving forward. A picture of Shane Man and Tony Khan were taken together, and the rounds online actually threw it through. Bully Ray from Bust Up Radio was able to get the statement. And Shane Man said that Tony and I were connected through the mutual friend. More importantly, we had a great meeting and we talked about many things, and most importantly, our sacred love for the business and the rewards and the challenges of working with family. And I congratulate him on his 5 year anniversary of AEW and look forward to seeing how he involves in the business moving forward. In addition to the statement, Bully Ray said that Shane McMahon preferred to play matters close, at least for now, as fans will have to stay tuned as the situation continues to unfold. But I'd like to know from you guys' personal opinion, how are you feeling about the whole situation when it comes to Shane McMahon initially working deals when it comes to AEW? But if Shane O'Mac does officially do come to AEW, it'll be kind of interesting. And I'll be highly invested to seeing how things unfold. We have King Guerrero. He said he just finished watching Dynamite. More importantly, it was a solid show, and Shane McMahon's going to AEW is just money. 100%. I truly agree with that. 100%. You hit it directly on the money. It is money. I would love to see Shane McMahon be involved when it comes to professional wrestling. And seeing a McMahon in a different show, you can't go wrong when it comes to seeing them being involved on AEW television. I would love to actually see them kind of twist it up, give Shane Man some kind of creative control, and help him with the booking. Because I know when I was watching the AEW All Access, Tony Khan is doing a lot of work. He's doing the creative, he's doing the booking, he's doing making sure everything is being taken care of, and he's all over the place. It would be nice. I know AEW doesn't have any writers, but just the booking aspect, it'd be kind of interesting to kind of give him a little backstage or kind of getting in a little break in between, but still keeping us invested in the long run. From my personal opinion, I would love to see Shane McMahon running Collision, because then that would bring more eyes to the television product on Saturdays, and then have him be in line with Elite some kind of fashion. Maybe he become the new leader of the Elite since the EVPs feel like they're controlling everything, but have Shane feel like he has some kind of power as being like a general manager or something like that. And then more importantly, be invested when it comes to AEW Collision. Then I like to see the actual AEW becomes a brand split things off because we have so many talent when it comes to the brand of All Elite Wrestling. More importantly, I like to see things become more invested of focusing on all the talent that we have there. We have Warlow, we have Samoa Joe, we have all the talent just sitting there in the back, hanging out in the backside, sitting there in those rows of chairs right there by Gorilla, and really just watching other people, all the talent doing things. As Tony Khan, I know he has his few people that he like to work with, but it's just so many talent that be there just flying into town for those shows and not getting enough time when it comes to television tapings, including Rampage, which they need to put a focal point and probably make that kind of like Ring of Honor. If Tony Khan want to kind of get that max deal with Ring of Honor, switch Rampage and actually kind of switch it up and call AEW AEWRH, kind of like NXT to a sense. Kind of like switch up, make that development deal when it comes to AEW, kind of saying, hey, this is our second branding under brand development, and kind of really make the focus of Ring of Honor be more so like NXT. Then you make that focus point of them having their show on Rampage, but I'm pretty sure they will be okay with that, calling it AEW ROH Rampage when it comes to Fridays, and then have Friday and Wednesday night and Saturday night be the focus point when it comes to their actual shows. Split up the brand, split up the titles, have the trios titles directly on Saturdays or even on Dynamite, and they have the tag team titles either on either brand. Because you got FTR, put the tag team titles actually on Saturdays for Collision, and put the trios championship directly over for Dynamite. Then we have the TNT and the TBS championship being their split perspective shows for the branding, and then more importantly, you have the World Heavyweight Championship be able to float on either show if they go in that direct direction. But Dynamite was really good. Hopefully, we'll get more details of this whole Shane McMahon progress. And I'm pretty sure Tony Khan's going to have some more surprises leading up to All In. More importantly, we're probably going to get some more signings as we have Ricochet is going to be eventually making his debut at All In, or he'll be making his debut officially over the go home after Dynamite, but he'll be there in August. More importantly, that's when he'll be making his debut. Is in August when it comes to AEW. It's gonna be interesting to see Ricochet being part of the group, but we already got too much talent. More importantly, I like to see how things continue to progress with the other promotions, not just New Japan Pro Wrestling. I like to see them work with like Noah, New Japan Noah, or all those other brands, as well as if he's gonna focus on that, make them be more like a highlight on Rampage if he's gonna do that, because really you need to put making your stars in for Dynamite and for Collision. But I always appreciate you guys coming through and show your love and support. You guys are always amazing. You guys always do your thing when it comes to showing your love and support. And it's always a pleasure being here for you guys for a lovely Wednesday night. Y'all be safe. Have a great night. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.